What things really make you cringe? Videos of people getting caught in lies. Oh, I need to see some of these strangely. Recordings of my own voice. Why does every other voice on the planet sound like Morgan fucking Freeman and mine sounds like Gilbert Gottfried on helium? Mine sounds like goddamn Donald Duck. When I remember my high school interactions in general. Extreme self-delusion. Usually it's funny enough to make up for it, but sometimes it's just so sad to see somebody who can't accept that reality. Amber Lynn on YouTube. She's about 600 pounds. Has been trying to lose weight for 4 years online. She recently said, instead of 2 sandwiches, I had 4 half sandwiches. The delusion is strong. Food is a tough addiction. Over my multiple attempts at losing weight, I've lost a total of 120 pounds, but every time I relapsed and gained it back. Edit. Getting a lot of replies. So I might as well get some things out of the way. Ever since the quarantine, I've been trying to lose weight again. Lost 10 pounds since the beginning of March, so not too bad. Also, gonna copy and paste one of my replies since I think it's pretty relevant and might answer some questions. Greater than my issues stem from 2 things. Greater than I've been obese since I was a little kid. Eating shit tons of unhealthy food is what I know, and it's easy to fall back on. I can't remember being a healthy weight or having a healthy diet. Greater than self-esteem issues and comfort boredom eating. Thankfully, this isn't that much of an issue as it used to be, but I still struggle with eating out of burrito monsieur when I was younger. I obviously got bullied a lot. I was a 280-pound 7th grader. On really shitty days, I'd go through multiple bags of chips and cookies as it was one of the only ways I knew how to deal with the emotions. Unlike other addictions that you can quit cold turkey, you still have to eat sometimes. Try recovering from alcoholism while still having a drink with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That would take some serious willpower. Edit. I realize that you can't always quit cold turkey with alcohol. But my point is that once you've tapered down, you never need to drink again. You always need to eat. And high-calorie, low-nutrient food is often abundant and cheap. The temptation is higher and requires greater willpower to resist. Edit 2. Thanks for the gold. This is now my #1 most upvoted comment. When I remember that I do have a boyfriend, he just goes to another school thing. As an adult with a real girlfriend in another country, I feel like a high school fraud when it comes up. Lol. The time I was talking too loud at a wedding when I wasn't supposed to, and everyone at the wedding turned around to see what asshole wouldn't shut up. Second-hand embarrassment. It makes me physically ill. Someone obviously showing off at doing something when they're not that good at it really gets to me. The worst is when someone is singing along to a song, but instead of just vibing and singing for their own pleasure, they're looking around to make sure that other people are watching them sing. It's the worst. Just to be clear, doing something badly just because you enjoy it is encouraged and celebrated. You should see me on a dance floor. It's like an epileptic octopus. It's when the person doing it thinks they're good at it and has that smugness or attitude and is doing it for praise from other people, but they're not actually good at that thing. Watching the auditions for X Factor makes me feel sick. When someone is obviously lying. Seeing an adult complain like a child to waiters, cashiers, etc. My aunt flipped her shit at a game store employee because they didn't give her a good amount of money for a copy of Final Fantasy on PS3. Keep in mind she's in her 40s. Remembering my past. You know, in rom-coms a lot of them start out with the characters literally bumping into each other. When I was in elementary school I tried to orchestrate that with my crush in a subtle fashion. I was back to back with her having a conversation with someone else and I kept taking a step back to try and have her bump into me once she turns around. And she kept having to adjust where she was standing so she wouldn't bump into me. You know, like a normal person. I eventually had practically moved her into the corner of the classroom before she sorta just ducked out and went somewhere else. That memory haunts me. It's just a memory. Dude, you can't even prove it happened. It never happened. Do you feel better now? I am going to use this from now on, thank you. Self-diagnosed psychopaths. Reminds of that I am a sociopath AMA Reddit thread where he unironically said, hey, a lot. When people make a joke but nobody laughs and it's just quiet. I can occasionally be funny but I must have a weird, too subtle delivery, because there's usually a couple seconds of delay before my friends, co-workers laugh in it. I'm just now processing what you said in hey that's hilarious kind of way, but for those few seconds when I think it missed, my soul shrivels up a bit. When people get that mentality of I am one bad bitch because they are really just one annoying bitch. Those videos of guys trying really hard to be sexy, biting their lips and looking down and brushing their hair back, they make me cringe so hard. A suburban white kid acting like a gangster cause he listens to rap. Early teen me. So many cringy stuff I did. I hope all of my old friends have forgotten about me. Yes, the worst time to look back to is when you were like 11 to 15 years old. When the super rich try to relate to ordinary people, it just comes across as so fake. Come on now, we're all in the same yacht boat. I'm the 13th day of quarantine in my 600 square meters house. YouTube comment threads that are essentially an endless string of who else is listening in 2020. Quote, or the new trend, nudity 0%, autotune 0%, bad music 0%, talent 100%. Any story about someone having a birthday party and no one shows up. It happened to my little brother when we were kids and I've been scarred from it since. People dying, abuse, grief, loss, horror, etc. does not elicit the same emotional upset I get when I hear those kind of birthday stories. Edit. Why are you all responding with stories that devastate me, man? Fuck y'all. Edit. To all of you are upsetting me, fuck this. I threw a surprise birthday party for my wife several years ago, invited 7 couples that we were friends with. 6 couples RSVP'd, and 1 couple said no. Come night of the party, I cleaned the house, made 2 batches of chili, had wine and snacks ready to go, everything waiting so that when people showed up, we'd all be there when she got home from work. No one came. I cleaned up all the decorations before the wife got home. 1 couple had a sick baby. 1 couple just straight up ghosted us. 1 had to work late. And IDR the rest. The couple that had to work late showed up 3 hours later and we had a great time with them, but I didn't have the heart to tell my wife the whole story until a year or 2 later. For what it's worth, are not friends with most of those people now. Sadly, or maybe fortunately, I just said how these stories devastate me. Why are you doing this? To counteract some of the cringe, here's a nice birthday story for you. About 3 years ago my brother had a new girlfriend, and when his birthday was coming up she worried about failing to make the day special for him since they'd only known each other briefly. She calls me for advice, specifically to ask about my brother's favorite activities and favorite homemade meal. She has also never made a homemade meal, so she asks me to visit to teach her how to do some of the basics, how to dice an onion, etc. He had a great day, and 3 years later they're now engaged to be married, and I'm about to have a great new sister-in-law. Oh my god. I had my 9th birthday party at a Chuck E. Cheese and I invited my entire 3rd grade class. Around 30 kids. No one shows. So I'm just sitting at this big ass table alone with some family members. When I realized no one was coming I just started sobbing. I must have looked downright pitiful crying in my party hat, surrounded by empty chairs set up for other kids, because the staff ended up giving me a shit ton of tokens to play with. I don't remember the rest of the day, but I did get a Wii and I won a bunch of prizes, so I think it turned out okay. Public proposals. Videos of people at sporting events eating their boogers. Horny dudes trying to get a woman's attention while she's shopping or at work. Women who act drunk after 2 beers for attention. My coworker who told me her last boyfriend told her that her vagina feels like fucking a bowl of macaroni. What if you genuinely get drunk after 2 beers though? People who post vague status updates on social media, such as "the most horrible thing just happened to me," without providing any context. It's a cheap way for people to fish for attention, and it creates unnecessary worry for the people who care about them. Monsieur just got back from the emergency room. Monsieur. Guys being overly aggressive at women who are plainly uninterested. I had to watch this 50-year-old guy beg to buy my 24-year-old friend a drink. She said no thank you like 6 times. Please just one drink. Please. It hurt to watch. My brother does this to the point that it's embarrassing to be with him in public. Thanks for the gold, kind stranger. Just send a private PM to the Gilder and stop ruining good posts. Coming across some rising issue or unpopular celebrity being posted about on Reddit and someone saying, "Reddit, do your thing," like we actually have a huge impact on shit outside the website, lol. The fact that someone hits send after that comment and believes they've coaxed the hive mind to act. A group of people reacting to new information without knowing all the facts is idiotic and should be avoided at all costs. We did it, Reddit. People who talk about, "Oh, I am so ugly," when they're literally the most attractive person in the room. Clearly just so people would compliment them. Monsieur, this doesn't go for looks only but for skills too. A sign of low self-confidence. I think a lots of the time the reason they are the most attractive person in the room is because they tie their self-worth tightly to their looks. So they work harder on maintaining themselves, and probably feel like if they don't get validation that others think they look good, their own worth is diminished. I think it's more sad that cringy American office culture. Let's circle back, bubble up any concerns you might have. Forced camaraderie and laughter at Steve, who's a damn dweeb, and his unfunny joke that's been honed over many a cup of shitty coffee in the break room, because it's just another Monday. Every Tuesday meeting for me. If you don't have any update or ideas, think of some new innovation, technology you learned and share it with the team. Monsieur, it's like going back to kindergarten and doing show and tell. Oh, not to mention during this pandemic we have to get on a webcam for 15 minutes just to talk like we are hanging out because we might miss each other. We are working from home. It's like, sure, I like some of the people I work with and am glad to work with the Monsieur, but I don't care that much. I'd rather be working instead of having people wait in the phone queue when it may be something urgent or just more important than stupid water cooler talk. My face when I see it on video. I consider myself a good-looking gal, but when I see my face on videos I look absolutely different from what I look in mirrors, in pictures, whether selfies or that others take, looking like a damn squirrelfish. And now video chat is required for work. The whole time I'm thinking, oh god, is this what I look like? Snapchat had me thinking I was cute. Then I downloaded Zoom and oh the horror. Every time I am in a group of people, I always say the wrong thing and they look at me like I have 3 heads and a penis growing out of my forehead. Having to stick your hand into the nasty food water that has been sitting in the sink for several days to open the drain, and when you remove your hand the pieces of fish and lettuce and dark matter that are stuck to it, or otherwise touching plates with leftover food on them, is a pain. Especially if they have been splashed with water. A guy sending meme after meme to a chat group, and no one responding, like ever. I feel called out. When people gild themselves. Guild, a medieval association of craftsmen or merchants, often having considerable power. Well, I'd like to gild too. Greater than wow, greater than guild that can be arranged. Folks, you read motivational literature and then brag about what outstanding knowledge it contains. Influencers asking for support during these times. Or people who are influencers without having done anything. I get it that people will be influenced by famous people like singers, sports players, politicians, actors, etc. But the idea that influencing in itself is a career is fucking stupid. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.